Larry Perkins again proved the Rainmaster. His only blemish was a brake lock which opened the door for Bow in Heat 2. But on the Shell scoreboard, Larry finished 7 clear of the Tasmanian and Wayne Gardner, with 10 back to Peter Brock and a further 2 to Johnson. Champagne bubbles turned a little flat for Bow soon after when Glenn Seaton complained to officials he'd been punted by him in this second heat incident. Tony Longhurst supported Seaton and the Tasmanian copped a $5,000 suspended fine. The 3 drivers have figured in incidents over the years and Bow charged he'd been fitted by a pair of girls. There's not much chat between the trio now, but on a positive note, Mark Skaife has recovered and wants a share of the spotlight here today. The 7 Network welcomes you to Symmons Plains, Tasmania, as the great V8 debate between Holden and Ford continues in round 2 of the Shell Touring Car Nationals. Well, a significant weekend actually here at Symmons Plains International Raceway because it marks the return of Mark Skaife. And his fellow drivers gave him a very warm welcome back here yesterday before he stepped into the car ready for qualifying. And of course, what a hair. Mark Skaife for a while yesterday looked like he was going to be the pole man. But this man took it away from him, John Bow in the Shell FAI Falcon. Here's how they'll line up. This is the top 10 after yesterday's qualifying. John Bow on pole with a 54.8484. Second, Mark Skaife with a 55.01. Position number 3, Glenn Seaton, the first of the Peter Jackson cars. Then it's Larry Perkins in the Castrol Commodore. From 5, Queensland's Dick Johnson. 6 is Thomas Mazera. 7 is the birthday boy, Peter Brock. 8 is Neil Crompton. 9 is Jimmy Richards. And rounding out the top 10 in the Coke Commodore, Wayne Gardner.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Peter. Happy birthday to you.
50 years of age today. Do you feel young?
Yeah, I do, as a matter of fact. Yeah, I feel like getting out there and doing some dynamic things in the racing car.
I've got a little letter here I'd like to read to you. And it says something like this. Dear Mr. Brock, it gives me great pleasure to join the motor racing industry today in extending to you my best wishes on your 50th birthday. Celebrating this milestone behind the wheel while competing in the second round of the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship is typical of the Brock legend. Good luck, Paul Keating, Prime Minister of Australia. And the best wishes from Johnny Howard too.
Yeah, sure.
Are you ready for a draw here?
Yes, I am. I'm feeling pretty lucky too. We'll wait and see what happens.
It's Mark Skaife. Comeback boy, who couldn't be happier. Now, what has Peter Brock drawn? 7. That's certainly better than 10. You couldn't have done any better this morning. 1. And this is a pretty tight little place too.
Yeah, no, what a great way to come back, obviously. To get 1 around here and, you know, it is a pretty tough place to pass, so you've got to be hard to beat if you get to the first corner first.
And it's good to have him back too. Quick draw McGraw. Mark Skaife in the Winfield Racing Commodore, pole position for the Peter Jackson Dash. And sharing the front row will be Dick Johnson in the Shell FAI Falcon. Row number 2 is made up of Skaife's teammate Jimmy Richards in the Winfield Commodore and Larry Perkins, the Castrol machine. Row number 3 is Neil Crompton, the Coke Commodore, and Thomas Mazera in the Mobile Commodore VR. And row 4, birthday boy Peter Brock in 05, and John Bow, the pole sitter in the Shell FAI Falcon EF. One to watch here today at Symmons Plains. And the 5th row, Wayne Gardner in the Coke machine, and Glenn Seaton, the Peter Jackson Falcon EF. They're just about set to run with Mark Skaife. Off the line, and Skaife bogs it. Johnson gets out, and Perkins down the inside, and will gather the lead up very smartly. In fact, Jim Richards made it up into 3rd.
He wasn't going to lose that lead.
That was a brilliant start from Larrigan Larry. He'll go beneath the bridge, and look at that, Hal. It's heading up to the hairpin for the first time.
I don't know what happened there. Skaife's car really bogged down. It looked like he was fishing around for a gear or two, but he managed to get it underway. But by that stage, the damage was done. Larry Perkins leaping off the second row. Johnson following him through. Skaife pushing his way up there. Jimmy Richards in there too. First of the Coke cars, and then I think it's Thomas Mazera as they come up the backstroke for the first time. 240 kilometres an hour as they head up through this sweeper and down toward this very demanding braking area at the end of the back straight.
Well, a beautiful start by Larry. You can't fault that kind of a start. He's just showing how concentrated his efforts are this year. He's really wanting to get every marker forward here. That shell car giving him one bounce already. This is going to be an interesting race. It shows these fellas are not playing around anymore in the dash.
That's the Dunlop tyres race cam. We're riding with Dick Johnson behind Larry Perkins. Good selection of cars this year. All the leaders seem to be carrying our 7 race cams. They come beneath the Dunlop bridge. Perkins stretches it out. Johnson still runs in second. Mark Skaife, Jimmy Richards, and then I believe it is Neil Crompton in the first of the Co-Commodores.
Tough area for braking here into the hairpin nicely. Dick's got designs on this lead. He's shadowing Larry here. Look at this, slipstreaming already. Might pull by him this time.
No shortage of bumbo from the Shell Falcon as he just pulls out the draft side by side as they come through the sweeper. Larry Perkins not giving any ground. They go side by side under brakes. Let's see who's the bravest. Johnson goes a fraction deeper. He's got the line and he covers his territory as they swing back toward the pit straight once again. Nice clean manoeuvre by Johnson there. But Perkins coming back for a second bite of the cherry.
Well, there's plenty of fight left in the old boy. Take no doubt about that. As Johnson takes Larry Perkins for the lead.
That was a very good passing maneuver. He couldn't quite get him at the hairpin and just foxed his way along the outside around the sweeper, as we saw.
Tell you what, Dickie's not mucking about too. Look at his time, first flying lap of 55 dead. And that's pretty much qualifying place to 55.01 for Mark Skaife, who pulled alongside John Bow. So this is very, very quick times in racing conditions here this morning.
Here's our view from Larry's windscreens and just watching Dick ever so slowly creep away from him there on the straight. He won't like that thought with 38 laps in front of him later today. But still staying with him under brakes. Look at this, coming down. Dick, of course, can afford to be more cautious now that he's in the lead.
So Johnson leads them back onto the pit straight. Last time around was Johnson, then Larry Perkins, then Mark Skaife in third position. Jimmy Richards, his teammate in fourth. Neil Crompton pushing his way up through the pack into fifth. John Bow, Thomas Mazzera, Peter Brock and Wayne Gardner and Glenn Seaton right at the back of the pack.
Well, Seaton drew badly, but the advantage is if you draw badly and you've got a bit of kick in the car, for every car you pass, you pick up an extra point. Heading down towards the sweeper, fastest part of the course here. This little right-hand kink. Look at the gap he's establishing.
He's really opening it up. It's as if Dick is testing himself here for the first heat.
John Bow muscling his way through on the inside of the sweeper there too as he moves up a position. He'll be looking for passing points as well.
Coming up now should be checkered flag time as they come across the line. Out of the line, and it is Dick Johnson. He'll go on to win it. Perkins takes second. Mark Skaife third. Jim Richards fourth. Then it's John Bow fifth. Neil Crompton was sixth. And Thomas Mazzera just clear of Brock, Wayne Gardner, and of course Glenn Seaton in car number 30. Let's go down to Andy Raymond.
Dick Johnson qualified fifth. He drew number 2 in the Peter Jackson dash. Dick, you won it, but you certainly didn't have everything your own way.
No, not at the start. You know, the thing is, yesterday we sort of had an engine in it that was a bit lazy, and we changed it last night. It's made all the difference in the world. It's going extremely well.
We saw Larry from the second row take the lead. A lot of passing in that. Is that what we're going to expect in the 2 heat races today?
I think you're going to expect an awful lot of that because that's only 4 laps, and the race is like 38 laps long. And I think you're going to see a lot of dicing early in the piece, and later in the race you're going to see a lot more because when guys' tyres start getting a little bit soft and things like that, I think there's a lot of the front runners will probably come back to the field, and it's going to be a very interesting race actually.
Dick, we certainly hope to talk to you a little bit later on. Dick Johnson won the Peter Jackson dash. Mike, let's have a look at the 5.
Thanks, Andy. Tricky Dick has given them the flick. He's won over Larry Perkins in the Castrol Commodore. Mark Skaife picks up third. Fourth was Jimmy Richards. John Bow finished in fifth. Don't go away. Back at Symmons Plains for more touring car action after the break.